What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome here to my 2008 Acura TL Type S. It's been a little while since I've had the car on the channel, so I kind of wanted to do a little update, and it's been over a year since I've had the car, so do a little 1-year ownership, do the pros, the cons, and also some mods I've done to this car and some I have coming up in the future. Alright, just as I mentioned before, this is a 2008 Acura TL Type S in the kinetic blue color. Coming around the back here, you can see the TL Type S. Do a quick little walk around. I have very dirty rims. I did not get a chance to wash it before doing this video, so I apologize for that. Right now I'm just going to go over all the mods I've done to this car, how long it took me, if I think it was worth it, and just kind of show you guys the car. Starting off, and the most obvious, is this black hood. The first hood, the one that came on this car, had a not really a big dent, but it was a crease dent right here, and it was kind of impossible to, you know, buff it out or kind of hit it out. So I just decided to get a brand new hood from, well, not brand new, I got it from a junkyard for like $100. Then I had one of my friends, his uncle was a painter, so he was able to professionally paint this, clear coat it, buff it out, all that. So I personally think it looks pretty good. I don't know if I should have done blue or black. If you guys saw my exhaust video or even my POV drive, you'll notice that I had a red stripe going all the way up, so it was kind of black, red, and blue. I took it off just because I didn't know if I'd like that look anymore, and it was just kind of time to switch it up. Next up on the car is the rims and the calipers. Now, if you guys notice, the stock Type S rims, the waffles, they're not on this car. The guy that I bought it from actually did not have the waffles on this car. Instead, he has the NK RS05 rims. I think they look alright. Personally, they're 17s, and also, like I said before, they're extremely dirty. But they're 17s. I think 19s would look really good on this car. Probably a different wheel pattern. As you guys can see, yeah, there's still a lot of wheel gap here. And oh, the other thing I did want to mention was I did tire writing right here, and it looks really good. I'll put a picture right here of what it looks like. So as you can see, there's really white, all the reds right here shined. I just did a little bit of contrast, but after about a week it just kind of faded, so I did it again, and then I realized that it wasn't worth it. So it was just a lot of time wasted on the tire writing, and it just kind of came off. So now there's a little bit of residue left from the paint. Personally, I don't think it looks that bad. It just gives the car a little bit of a different look from a regular Type S, along with that black hood, so it's a little bit more unique. Keeping the theme of paint, the spoiler in the back, I'll put a picture of it, what it looks like right here. It was blue, but it was very sunburnt and kind of worn out, so what I did was I sanded it down. Then I actually just used spray paint for this, and it came out really nice. I'll put a couple pictures of the process. Just kind of taped off the back of the car and was able to just spray paint that. I think I did 4 coats of black, 3 coats of clear, and so far so good. And I really love the contrast between the black and blue, and it just makes it pop a little bit more as well. Moving on to the back of the car, and probably what this is best known for, the exhaust video that I have has over 10,500 views, so thank you guys so much for that. If you guys haven't seen it, I will link it in the description below, so make sure to go check that out. I have a stage 3 exhaust, which I cut off the mid muffler and the rear muffler. The resonator is still on, but then I have these Upower dual tips. As you can see, they're not flush with the bumper like the stock one is. They kind of stick out a little bit, but from the sides you get a little bit of the shine from the tip, and I'm not really sure now if I liked it. Before, I thought it was really cool, but I might switch that up in the future. I'll also talk a little bit more about what I'm going to do to the exhaust when I go to the next mods. As much as I love the exhaust in this car, it is really droney, and I do some pretty long trips. So I did install a J-pipe on this car, which was supposed to catch a little bit of the drone. It does a pretty good job, but it is really droney, around 2,000 RPMs. That's gonna have to be fixed in the future, so I don't drive myself crazy or drive any of my passengers crazy as well. Also did 20% tint all around. However, I did take it off the front just because the state that I live in, it was illegal, and I have an exhaust. I just didn't want it to be a cop magnet, so I'm probably just gonna put 35 in the front, have the 20 in the rear, and I also have the 20% tint strip that goes right to the AS1 line right there. That actually helps a lot with the sun. I didn't realize how much it helped. I thought it was more for looks, but after being in Florida for a long time with this car, I can say that it actually was really helpful. Underneath that hood, obviously, is the grille. I painted this whole thing black just with spray paint, except for the little chrome Acura emblem. I thought it just kind of popped a little bit and made it look a little better. Then I also did these trim pieces down here black, but because of all the rocks and bugs and whatnot that hits it, it is chipped a little bit. Other than being very dirty, again, I apologize, but that was painted black. I just thought the chrome, and right here wasn't even chrome, it was just I don't even know, like a gunmetal gray, which actually was the color of these rims before I spray painted those black, and it just looks kind of weird with the chrome, so I just thought all black would look a lot better, especially with this hood. All right, moving on to the inside of this car, this is where things get interesting. As you can see, the seats are not just the regular gray. These were starting to crack. There was a little bit of black leather tape on these before, but it started to crack a little more. Even right here you can see. So I just kind of filled in the seats with this red tape. From a distance you can't even tell that it's tape. I just kind of did the outline or the inside of the seat. I do have to get some more leather tape to finish this seat and that seat as well, but for the meantime this is gonna have to do. The next thing I did was this red and carbon weave type thing, leather wrap on the steering wheel. I had a perforated black one on this before with red stitching, but this one I thought looked pretty cool with the red sides, excuse me, and also the top, because as I mentioned before, I had that red stripe that went all the way up, so it kind of continued through the top of the steering wheel as well. I also got this Upower CD phone holder. I don't really use CDs at all, so this just kind of goes back into the CD player and you're able to put your phone on there, clamp it down so it won't go anywhere, and then to release it there's a little button on the side. Push that and you're good to go. Also from Upower is this Bluetooth audio adapter. This was like probably 13 bucks, 14 bucks on Amazon, and I've used it every single time I drove. Have not had a problem with it. So if you guys are interested in this, I'll link this in the description below along with all the other products I used on this car. Now my car does have an aux cable, as you can see in the center console, but I wanted to be able to charge my phone while I was listening to music, so this was the easiest option. Behind that we have the Govee Underglow control right here. So as you guys can see right there, I have the LEDs in the front and also in the rear right there. So this just gives the car a little bit more character when you're driving at night, so you can change all the colors right here, or you can make it dance to the music and use the app on your phone to control them as well. Another thing I did was replace the front two door speakers. This one was actually blown, that's why I replaced both of them. I used the Kenwood speakers. I'm not 100% sure what the model number on those were, but these sound really good. They're very crisp. As you can see, there's a little bit of a rose gold ring in the middle there, so I thought they looked pretty cool too, even though you can't really see them. Next up is the Rolls-Royce style Starlight Headliner Kit. I have a full video on that one as well. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put it in the description below as well. But this was an extremely tedious project. It took me about 19 hours and 4 friends helping to even put this thing in the course of 2 days. It was very stressful. We had to do 295 holes. We had to mark them out, label them. We have to poke the holes, we have to feed them through, glue it down, a whole process, and then all just to install it back into the car. Now I will say at night it is something that no one else really has except in a Rolls-Royce, or if somebody put this kit in, but let's face it, who is going to spend 19 hours to put in the Starlight Headliner Kit? Not many guys. So I just think it's pretty cool to have a very unique feature for the passengers and also to enjoy for myself as well. And of course I had to put the decals on there. I have the KJ Lifestyle tag, and then I also have a Savage Garage sticker from all the rallies that we do down in Florida, and another KJ Lifestyle logo sticker in the back. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is this car worth it? So I've had this car for over a year now, and honestly I think it is. This just being a Acura TL, some people just see it as that, but obviously it's the Type S version. Difference being the base model has the 3.2 liter V6, this has the 3.5 liter V6, so it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more sporty, has the sport suspension, the sport steering, so it's much more tight than the regular TL. And also in the kinetic blue, I have not really seen a lot of these at all, so it's kind of a rare car in my area. I traveled north to south and I've actually only ever seen one Acura TL Type S in the kinetic blue color. That might not matter to some people, but to me I think that's pretty cool to have a car that not many other people have, at least in my area or that I've seen. I know there are a lot of Acura TLs. There's probably some blue ones out there as well, I just haven't seen them. Moving on to talk about that 3.5 liter V6 with the VTEC that comes in the TL Type S as opposed to the 3.5 in the regular TL. I honestly really like that engine. It's a really good platform. I know a lot of guys K-tune it. I really wanted to do that, but I don't know as a daily driver if I should. It has a lot of power going into the higher RPMs. Low end, it lags a little bit, but it's not terrible. Obviously, it's not going to be anything that's going to, you know, blow your socks off or whatever, but it does have a little bit of good kick when you really get on it. The sound that this car makes as well is also pretty cool. You guys can check out that exhaust video, or I'll put some clips in right here. You probably also heard the startup in the beginning of this video, but it has kind of that foreign rumble. I don't know if it's just my exhaust that I have on it with the 2 rear mufflers deleted in the J pipe, or just the engine itself. I do actually really like this car as a daily driver. There's plenty of space for you and 4 other passengers as well. And moving on to the back, that is my full driving position. Now obviously I'm not really that tall, I'm only about 5'9" or 5'10", but there's still, you know, a good amount of space in the back, and I can always move up if I need to. And same with the passenger side. So these seats in the back are actually more comfortable than the front. I had never really sat in this car until sat in the back of this car until the beginning of, I think it was August. So I'd had this car for about 2 or 3 months, and I sat back here and I was actually very surprised with how comfortable these rear seats are. In the back you do have this little armrest and also 2 cup holders as well, and then storage here, here, and here. Continuing on with practicality, the trunk space is actually pretty good. So I have this massive chest in here, that's why it's taking up so much space. This just has a whole bunch of stuff. It has some tools, it has jack stands, it has other various things, and I thought it was a really good idea just to put it in this big case and kind of tie it down so stuff wasn't just floating around everywhere, and I was able to maximize all the space that I had up here but still be able to have all my tools. I'm also able to have this little detail bucket right here, which has some washer fluids, some tire shine, oil, some chemical guys cleaner, some towels, all that type of stuff. And I still have room to put my golf clubs in there and some other things as well. Now I don't really travel that heavy, so this isn't really a problem, hence why I want to get the 370. Honestly, the space that you get in this car is really good. Oh, I forgot. You also get a CD changer, but I don't use that. Another pro of this car is the sound system. Now I believe Acura partnered with Dolby when they did this car. So we have the 2 door speakers up front, we have a tweeter up there, a mid-range speaker, another tweeter, and then we have 2 rear deck speakers and an 8-inch subwoofer, which is surprisingly really good. In my old 2002 BMW 530i, I had a 12-inch kicker, and that was able to put out a lot of bass. And honestly, I didn't even think I needed it, so I sold it because that subwoofer that came stock in this car is actually really good. Now when cruising on the highway, this car actually gets about 29 or 30 miles to the gallon when you just have it on cruise control. Going down to Florida, I was getting about 30 miles to the gallon at 75 miles an hour on cruise control, and was able to do about 400 or 425 miles on a full tank. Driving in the city, however, especially with an exhaust, is a little bit different because, you know, you kind of want to get on it from a dig, you want to hear it a little bit. So I probably get about 15 to 16 miles to the gallon. I know that's a big stretch, but even just driving it normal, you're probably only going to get about 18 or 19 miles to the gallon in the city. Alright, so moving on to the cons of the car. First off are the headlights. Probably just the way I got them, they just seem very fogged. I tried to clean them, but as you can see, they just kind of didn't really do much, and it actually goes inside the plastic, so it's not just on the surface. So if I wanted to have these clean, I'd probably just have to get new ones. The guy who owned this car before me lived in the city, so there are a little bit of scuffs and some scratches on the car. Nothing too major though. I just tried to put a little bit of touch-up paint on it, and also on the bumper right here there was a fairly big scratch, and also some right here as well. Moving on to the back of the car, one of the side lights is cracked. There's another little bit of a dent or scratch right here, but other than that, the outside shows to be in really good condition. Moving on to the inside, on the door, some of this little carbon wrap is kind of coming up right here. The Acura emblem on the steering wheel is kind of starting to yellow, or the chrome is starting to come off. As I mentioned before, the seats are starting to crack a little bit. This piece right here used to have a slider where you'd able to slide it off, but it broke. The positioning of the 12 volt, I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but they put it really close to the gear lever, so if you kind of had a bigger 12 volt adapter, you wouldn't even be able to to put the car in park, you wouldn't be able to use the adapter. And honestly, probably the biggest thing for me right now that I see a flaw in this car is the headliner is actually starting to fall a little bit in the back. That is completely my fault for taking off the headliner. That just kind of loosened it up a little bit. So I'm gonna have to do something to, you know, kind of make it stick up a little better so it's not sagging and falling down, because right now I'm kind of afraid to use my windows because it's just going to make it flap around and, you know, loosen everything up a little bit. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the cons of this car. It looks pretty good on the outside and it runs really well mechanically. I have 155,000 miles, almost 156,000 miles, and I have not had any major problems, knock on wood. But overall, this has been a really great car for me, being able to go all the way north, all the way south down to Florida. On the long drives, it did really well, got really good gas mileage. I'm able to drive some friends around, put a bunch of stuff in the back if I need to, and still have space in the trunk as well. For those of you that are interested in getting one of these cars, I honestly can highly recommend it. There's so much you can do. There's so many different looks you can go with. Obviously, my theme is the blue, the black, and the red going throughout the whole car, but there's so many different things you can do. You can tune it. There's a bunch of different exhaust, suspension, wheels, all that sort of stuff. So it's just a really good platform to build off of. Alright, so I know I talked a little bit about future mods. The next thing I think I'm actually going to do is try to wrap the roof black. I think it'll look a lot better following the theme, going up the black hood and coming down to the back. Also, the tint strip just kind of starts it off along with the sunroof as well. And then the next thing I'm going to do is get a valved exhaust. So I'm going to actually put the stock exhaust back on. Not that I don't like the way this one sounds, it's just a little bit too drony, and I kind of want to be able to turn it on and off when I'm going up quiet streets or pulling back into my house. Like I said, I'm actually going to take the exhaust off, put the stock one back on. I'm going to cut the resonator and then put the cutoff right there so I can open and close it before the resonator. But when it's closed, it'll go through the mid muffler and the rear muffler, so hopefully that'll quiet everything down. But then when I want it loud, it'll be much louder than it is right now. Other than that, just gonna do some aesthetic stuff, just fix the steering wheel, hopefully fix up the seats, and also coming into the back, definitely want to try to fix that headliner so it's not sagging. With all that said about this car, the 2008 Acura TL Type S, I really liked it. However, I do still really want the 370Z. Recently, I'm actually trying to sell this car, so if you guys are interested, leave a comment or shoot me a DM on Instagram or something like that, and I'll try to get back to you. I'm probably not going to sell it this year just because I'm not going to be able to get the 370 this year, so I obviously want to be able to have a car. But maybe next year, if you guys are still interested, one of you guys can pick this car up. I know that was a lot of talking, but with all that said, that pretty much sums up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the little walk around of my 2008 Acura TL Type S. I know a lot of you guys wanted more car content with this one in the future, so trying to put this one out as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more, maybe wrapping the roof and the new exhaust as well in the future, so stay tuned for that. Also wanted to thank you guys for 300 subscribers. We are moving up, getting closer to that 1,000 mark, so if you guys haven't, make sure to click that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, share this video. I really appreciate it. But just like that, this video is over. Remember to be kind, be happy, and be grateful, and I'll see you in the next one.